Okay.
Welcome back for another amazing episode of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. I'm your host, Lois Kofi, transformational coach and plant medicine woman. Excited to have you learn today to be inspired and equipped on how to live your best health, your best wealth, by trusting that best innate wisdom that lies within. We'll be talking about psychedelics, microdosing, spirituality, shamanism, inner child healing, trauma release, and so much more. Grab a cup of coffee, enjoy, tune in, invite a friend. We look forward to serving you.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. If I can just get that off of there. There we go. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Coach Lois here. Super excited. Got a new intro and some new beautiful images for my podcast. So we're playing with them today and so honored. Welcome to June. It's Friday, June 2nd, as the time of I record this. And as you heard from my new and improved intro, we do these shows to really help you live your best health, your best wealth, and learning about what is your best wisdom. And I'm super excited about today's guest because I met him before the pandemic. And I don't even know if we've met in more than in one time in person, Jon. It seems so surreal because that was pre-pandemic and we met under completely different careers than what we both honor and focus on now. And now you're this amazing musical teacher who my kids love and have been blessed by your wisdom and your passion, pursuing your passion in the midst of a pandemic, being a music instructor online. So I know that music has come back into my life in so many ways, and it's really helped me heal in so many ways and live my best health, my best wealth, and reconnecting with that wisdom that music can bring all of us. So I'm so excited to talk to you about this today because I haven't talked about this with anyone on my show, and I'm almost 300 episodes in. So it's about darn time. So I guess I'll go ahead and introduce you. Jon is, as we like to say, the musician who ran away to the circus for a few years. I'm sure he's going to tell us about that and found his way back to music. So Jon, take it away. Tell us about the circus you ran away to.
Sure. Hi. Thank you so much for having me, Lois. So I've been a musician my whole life, and then I discovered acro yoga, which is kind of like a ground partner acrobatics, and it was my gateway drug into circus arts. And it snowballed. I moved to San Diego. That's where we met.
Yeah.
I moved to San Diego to study at the Circus Center there. A fabulous school. Jean-Luc Martin runs it, and he used to be a Cirque du Soleil artist, and highly recommend him and his program. And I studied there really intensively for a couple of years. And at the time, I was doing like personal assistant work, and that's the context that you and I met in with Lucas Root, fabulous entrepreneur and just great guy all around. And I worked with you for a little bit, and then I pivoted hard towards music at the start of the pandemic. And that's what I do full time now. I teach online and in person. You can see I've got a guitar back here, guitar, ukulele are the instruments that I teach your kids, and saxophone is actually my main instrument. Flute and clarinet are also on the roster. So yeah, the circus was great. I was in a little local troupe in San Diego for a couple of years that did some great fun performances, and yeah.
I love it. And where did your love of music begin? Because we're going to come full circle on this, but I'd love to know, where did your love for music begin?
It goes back as far as my memory. I've just always been excited about it. I took violin in elementary school, and then I remember, how they do the instrument show and tell for elementary school kids. Somebody has saxophone, and I thought, that is the coolest instrument. That's what I want to play. And so I was all in. And I have to say, being able to make music in community, at first in band class in middle school and high school and college, that communal music making is really what inspired me to become a musician in the first place. There's nothing like working with other people to create something beautiful. There's nothing like that. That's also, I think that's also why I did circus for so long, because it's a cooperative, fun in your body performance that really, I don't know. There's the sum being greater, or I'm sorry, the whole being greater than the sum of the parts there. That's why I became a musician.
I love it. Wow.
I get really off topic sometimes, so if I didn't answer the question, you just let me
No.
know.
You're beautiful.
Okay.
It's all good here at Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. We are all authentic all the time. So I will, and I'm here to bring us back in if need be. But no, it was perfect because, and I was looking away because I was hoping, and I have my drum, so I might be drumming with you before this podcast is over. So the reason I asked that is because I really want our listeners today, if maybe you played music as a kid, maybe you put it on the shelf because of life, right? Busyness, career, children, grandchildren, whatever. But I had a massive awakening the past 2 years, John. Like when you met me, I was actually very much in the closet of being a binge drinking workaholic. I was really slowly dying a slow, painful, internal death. And it was because of plant medicine, the psychedelics, and getting into the entheogenic healing path, not recreational, but the true deep dive healing, that music came back. And what happened for me, and I'd love your thoughts on this based on what you know about music, and you kind of alluded to this, it's communal, right? So I realized when I look back that I stopped enjoying life and embodying fun and dance and play when I shut down the music in my life and just threw myself into work and busyness and worrying about the kids and, being a soccer mom, so to speak, and just all of that. I didn't have time. I didn't choose to make time for it. And literally it was within a couple of years of that I started turning to alcohol and these other forms of fake pleasure and really shut down that music side of my life. And when I went back with it, what I discovered is my ancestors loved music, drumming. You think of all of the studies about the indigenous tribes and they all love to drum. I'm going to a drumming circle tomorrow night. And every time I got my drum out, I started feeling my fear go away. And I just started feeling like this energy in my body shifted and I started coming alive. And so that's what plant medicine did for me to bring me back, because I was so stuck in my head and I just put music on the shelf. But with what you know and your knowledge and awareness, is why is music so important for us as beings?
Yeah, there's a lot of different answers in that. For me, it's the difference between thriving and surviving. I make music. That's my kind of chosen practice. But I think really what it's about is unapologetically creating. It's so important to create. I think it's just baked into human nature. Create in a generative sort of way. What else?
Well, and I'm going to add to that really quickly, if can I buy you a few more seconds? What I discovered, and now I actually just talked about it on my last podcast, about the feminine side of our brain. That's the creative, the intuitive, the juicy, sacred, just really imaginative part of our brain. And that's what I learned from plant medicine, that I shut that side of my brain down and was all work and no play. And that I think is a prevalent problem in our society, and why I focused on my kids aren't in a lot of sports. There's other kids in their school that are in all of these sports, do virtual lessons. We've kept them in music because we want them to stay more in that feminine energy side of the brain, because the rest of the days, we're in our masculine logic, numbers, to-do lists, sales, money, paying the bills, right? Don't you think that has something to do with it?
Absolutely. I think there's still this scarcity paradigm that we live with, of gotta survive, gotta work. And yes, you have to work, but there's there's more to it than just working. Can I give an example here with the ukulele?
Yes. Yay.
So,
I was hoping there has to be music on our show today. Absolutely.
So I think a great example of what you're talking about, if we're going to use terms masculine and feminine, the masculine being the more structured, kind of, I don't know, dry side of the brain. And in music, that would be kind of just focusing on, which is important, super important. But once you have the foundation, the structure of that, then you get to play. And that's really when those two sides get to come together, that's really when the creativity flows, right? I was just hanging out earlier today. Oh, so this is peripherally related, but I was hanging out with some neighbors who have a son about the same age as my own, almost 2, and they're both musicians. And I just, at some point, I had my ukulele because I just taught a lesson, and I was just kind of jamming out. And they joined in. And there's, to speak back to your original question. Oh God, sorry. I'm trying to bring everything together here. I've also done psychedelics and entheogenics, and for me, the benefit of all that was this, like, stopping caring so much of what other people think and just creating and see what happens. Because the people who've done their work are willing, most of the time, are willing to play. And Jen and Dave, they're great. I actually got mushrooms from them before. They just jumped right in, and I shared some music with them. They shared some music with me, and anyway, I'm all over the place. It really, when you can bring together the structure and the creativity, the masculine and the feminine, then that's really when the creativity and the fun starts. One last little point here. One thing that I try to make sure that I teach is that it's more important to try than it is to do perfectly, because I think we get so many of us are perfectionists, and we get caught up in the how perfect was that? Oh no, it wasn't perfect enough, and like that's not important. It's just the important thing is to do and to try and to continue to do and to try. Yeah. I think we need some more structured questions for me. I'm all over.
It's because you're creative, just so you know. Yeah. That's it's all perfect. And it's
thank you.
Well, there's so many different forms of creativity. I just want to remind our audience, like, even though I'm almost at 300 episodes of my podcast, the first show, I was bawling my eyes out, terrified. I mean, I've had, autoimmune disease in my throat, afraid to speak my truth, right? So I was blocking myself in a lot of ways because I gave up music. And I think, to your point, music is so much, especially when you're, practicing privately. You have that opportunity to just allow the creative juices to flow without judgment. I think, to your point, not caring what other people think, being willing to fail forward. And I think music is also, it gets you into your heart more. I know we talked about the 2 hemispheres of the brain, but maybe you could speak to that. How is music connected more to our heart brain? Because that's really the biggest brain in our body. If you play a song, instantly it can take you back to a wedding or an event or a happy moment or a sad moment. And I think our heart actually remembers that because you're connecting with the music and feeling it in your body. So why does that happen? If you can, share some thoughts on that.
Why
do we get so emotional when it comes to even just hearing music?
Oof. There's a lot of work with music, right? On the technical side, there's tone, la 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 la. There's rhythm. You spoke about playing the drum, so there's this kinesthetic reinforcement. I'll just drum a little bit. I don't know, can you hear that?
Hold on, let me get my drum.
All right, cool.
So here's my drum. I know you probably can't see it as well, but this, I made it in a shamanic drum. Can you hear it?
Absolutely.
So you were going to say something. If you want, I can keep playing.
Well, and the rhythm in music is equivalent to dance, and movement. So we got tone, we've got rhythm, and then when we've got tones stacked on top of each other, you get harmony. I don't know how well this is going to come through on your podcast. So you've got these aural elements that the brain just latches onto, the brain and the body, they just latch onto.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got an additional layer of meaning with lyrics, right? I'm trying to think of an old song that means a lot to me. I grew up Jewish, and there's this song called Shalom Rav that I loved growing up, and I found out later in my life my mom loves it. So every time I would sing it, and I performed in I was a song leader in synagogues and at Jewish camps, and every time I sang it, like, not only would I get something out of it, but I'd remember, oh yeah, my mom loves this song too. Okay, cool. And so there's the lyrical meaning behind the song, and then I think the last really important layer is what's that word for warmly remembering something? Nostalgia. There's a nostalgic factor.
Yeah.
And all those together, oh God, just when I hear an old song that I loved, I melt, and it's such a sweet, there's a sweetness to it, right? There's a sweetness to that remembering and the being in and the meaning.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that you said it, we've said it multiple times. So I just want to reiterate to the audience is it's embodying, like when we get stuck in our head brain, the game can be over. And that's where I was for so many years, because I shut off that musical side of myself. And my hope is to inspire people, especially if you've been feeling lack, scarcity, maybe of health issues. Oh my gosh, just listen to music, singing bowls. You don't have to become a musician. However, I will say once I started drumming and getting that back in and starting to want to dance, and then I joined a choir last year and started vocalizing and reconnecting to, again, my ancestors, reconnecting to my origins of music as a kid. Oh my gosh, then you're embodying more of your truth. And I think your true nature and purpose shines through, because, make a joyful noise, and you don't really have to even be great at singing in the shower, right? That's the joke. I only sing in the shower, but whatever, it doesn't matter. That's why so many plant medicine ceremonies are based on music, because it's the music along with the medicine, along with your heart and emotions and feelings, getting this out of the way, the head brain, that's magic.
100%. And it's so important to have a teacher. If you're gonna study music, have a teacher who just like you show who praises you for showing up. Right. I've had teachers in all various subjects who did that, and also people who use shame as a motivator, which it's not. My
last piano teacher, I quit. Yeah, I quit after 10 years of lessons because it was kind of a Nazi-ish perfectionist approach. It wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah, and it turns so many people off from the practice to have a teacher like that. And I make sure that I try to keep things fun. I'm always, one of the things I love doing is finding out what the interests of the students are. And your her music is so much fun. We're getting into Katy Perry, and I've got students studying like the Pokemon theme song. We've done Super Mario Brothers, done Star Wars, we've done TV show themes, and I think it really makes it more real and interesting for people, and not so monolithic. Like it brings it into the here and now. This is what I love, and I get to do that thing. I get to make the music that I love to listen to, and music is just so magical. It's so magical.
Well, and I want to give a plug for you. I don't want to forget about this because, and I'll share his information later, everyone. But connecting with Jonathan has been huge for us because, we had moved to San Diego, boom, all of a sudden pandemic 6 months later, right? So they couldn't do sports. I mean, my son did virtual karate, but, we barely had gotten here. And so having the ability to do virtual lessons, then of course you moved away so you can have clients anywhere in the country, right? So to be able to have that has been like a lifeline for our kids, because again, we didn't want to get them into the human doingness obsession of 5 different sports and all of these other expectations. Because I know for me, that seemed like a good thing as a kid, but honestly, guys, it really wasn't healthy for me. So finding something that you can really focus on and pour yourself into, I think is really important. And Jon is fantastic at working with people of all ages, right? You also work with adults.
I do. I really enjoy working with adults because sometimes, not always, not in this case, but sometimes students are there because their parents are making them be there. And I don't know. I don't get as much out of that. Adults, though, are always there because they want to be. And it is so much fun. I work with all ages, to be clear. And I'm especially excited about students who are excited about their music.
Well, and I will tell you, this impacts our family. We like to do the Kofi Family Singers. Now we're joking, a parody of the Von Trapp from The Sound of Music. We went and performed as a family for a grief hospice care community. And just so you know, Desiree's song, Three Little Birds, people just started crying automatically when they heard the ukulele. So there was some kind of a spiritual, heart, emotional connection. And then Henry's song that he played that you helped him pick out was a song that I had never even heard of before. But apparently one of the attendees, her father, who had passed, hence the reason she was there, her father had played that song. And so, the ability to learn for your own health, but then the impact, the ripple effect that this can bring out into your community, guys, is so worth overcoming the fear and learning something new. Also impacts the brain and the heart in so many ways and helps you with your health. And I think helps with the wealth, since we talk about healthy and wealthy here at this podcast, is, bringing that joy, that vibration up inside of your being, and then being also able to give back. There's such a sacred reciprocity that music, I think, breeds prosperity and abundance, don't you?
Absolutely. I think there's a real joie de vivre of music making that just lifts you up, especially when you're able to do it with other people. It's really, yeah.
I love it. Well, I'm wondering, do you want to jam a little bit? Do you have a song that we can play, and I'll just do a basic jam with you on the drum? So
because we're online, I don't know if it's gonna work. We can try, but there's always like a lag. That's one of the things. That's why I prefer to teach in person, because then we can really make music live. Online, it's a little bit harder. We can give it a shot though. I'm just going to do Three Little Birds. Is that all right?
Oh, yay! And sing along, everyone.
Absolutely. Here we go. Well, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be all right. Sing and don't worry about a thing. Do-do-do-do. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be all right. I rise up this morning, smiled with the rising sun. 3 little birds beside my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. So don't worry about a thing,
Everyone now.
'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright.
Yay!
I hope that comes through. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It was so beautiful. My heart is full. I know if we have anybody out there that would like to ask Jon any questions, this is the best time. We're going to start wrapping it up here. But is there anything else on your heart, Jon, that you haven't shared that you really want our audience to know when it comes to music or anything?
Yeah, be mindful of your inner critic and what they let you and don't let you do. I think the greatest gift I got from entheogenics was noticing and working to deconstruct those messages that were really limiting. And when you get to free yourself, well, I shouldn't say free yourself. Put a muzzle on the critic. There's a lot more expression that you have access to.
And thank you. Yeah. And I think music can help you with that. I know for me, when I've actually sat in ceremony is actually when I came back to drumming in real time. I was experiencing a lot of dark energies and fears, and the inner critic was coming. Ooh, man, whew, could she be a bitch? Let me tell you. And I was like, I can't keep sitting in this anymore. So I saw these two beautiful ladies and they were drumming, and something pulled me over there, and I went and I said, I think I'm supposed to do that right now. And sure enough, they told me that the reason they were doing it, the shaman said that it heals the heart chakra and connects it with the womb. And when you think about it, the first sound we hear in our mother's womb is her heartbeat. And so I started drumming, and boom, I felt my heart calm, and then my stomach and just like the fear factor just started to slowly subside. And I think whenever someone's in that trance of inner criticism, I think it's a good reminder to, whether you go for a run, whether you beat a drum, whether you turn on your favorite love song or whatever, I think that's a great reminder, is the importance of music for your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, all of it.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much. And where can people find you, Jon? And so if they want to have, like, do you offer up a free consult or a free lesson?
I do. I offer a free 30-minute, I guess, intro lesson where I get to know your interests, and we figure out if we're a good fit. You can find me at jonswann.com. That's JONSWANN.com. And Facebook, www.facebook.com/JonSwannMusic, JONSWANN music.
Beautiful. And I'll have that in the show notes, guys. And I also have right now, if you're on the visual on YouTube or on the live on LinkedIn, remember all the cool kids are hanging out with me in my Facebook community, Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, as well as the Breaking Ancestral Curses for Your Health and Wealth. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys. Come back and tune in. And you never know who we might have on the show. And then also, just one final announcement before I ask you the closing question, Jon. On Tuesday of next week, I'm going to be doing microdosing for the masculine wound. I've been doing monthly classes around microdosing and how these entheogenic, beautiful plants, sacred plants, can help you go inward for your best health and your best wealth. And since we have Father's Day coming up, and I know myself and a lot of people have struggled with a masculine wound, sometimes also called the father wound, I want to be able to help you, heal that and work through that this month before Father's Day. So if you want to tune in and see how microdosing can help you with a masculine wound, please check that out at microdosingforhealth.now. that site. And if you saw value in today's show, please hit the share button. Sharing is caring, especially if you know someone who maybe used to be a musician or they're struggling with something, mental health, anxiety, depression. Music does so much for you. And Jon is an amazing patient and beautiful instructor that can work with anyone in the country. So, Jon, thank you again. I have one final question for you before we close out. I always ask this question to all of my guests. When you hear the phrase healthy and wealthy and wise, what does that mean for you?
That means just integrative alignment. Everything is, you're doing what you say, and you're thinking and doing and saying is clear and in line, and the world is telling you yes.
I love that. I love that. I love the word that you put in there, integrative, because we talk a lot about integrity and integration of what it is that you are, whatever you're consuming and taking in, and how are you, connecting that within yourself. So, and consuming music and coming back to music, guys, can help you so much in integrating so much that we have going on in our lives. I hope you really get an opportunity to reach out to Jon at jonswann.com and tune in for our next guest. I'm so grateful that you guys could be here today. Again, hit the share button if you saw value in this, and feel free to reach out to Jon if you have any musical questions. Until next time, guys, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and trusting your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.